So there's the recruitment process that's changing. There's partnerships. There's also the organisations that you mentioned earlier on in the interview about the particularly media, the Facebooks and the Googles of this world, who are hoovering talent into their organisations. Yes. How does a media company work with these guys? I mean, work with companies that are one day your competitor, the next day your partner, the day after your the people who are stealing your talent. How do you build relationships with these organisations?
So I think if you take any of those organisations, we tend to have a relationship with them on many different layers. So if you look at Google, we use their ad tech, we use Google Cloud, we use BigQuery, we use Gmail. So we use a number of technologies from Google. And we have a great relationship with them on that aspect. But then also if you look at the advertising models, obviously we're slightly challenged, and a lot of the advertising revenue is going to Google and Facebook. And I think that we want to have a good relationship with the big tech companies, because it's really important. We're reliant on their platforms, but they're also reliant on our content. And I think perhaps it's felt in the media world that reliance hasn't been as recognised as it could be. And media organisations, as you know, spend an awful lot of money on producing quality content, and it's not cheap. And so we have to find business models that work for the producers of the content and not just the distributors of the content. So that's the slight position of tension that we find ourselves in. But we have great conversations with all those companies, and I think that there's ongoing discussions and recognition of where each other stand.
Do you get a sense that they're moving their stance?
I think yes. No, I think so. I think because if you think about back to the world of where a lot of content production started in the world of TV. Content was commissioned for TV, and actually you can see the new players of Amazon and Netflix coming in, and actually they're doing just that again for TV content. So why is it different for video content or for text content? And so I think that I think things are starting. So you hear every so often that some deals, and Facebook Live, you'll see that they will have paid some companies for Facebook Live content. So I think that there are pockets of it happening, and I think if monetization is through advertising revenue, that's brilliant, as long as it happens. So I think that if the promise is that there's advertising revenue linked to the content and that covers the cost of the content, then we don't have a problem with that.
But the promise has always been that online advertising revenues will supplant those, and it's never happened.
No, exactly.
So do you see a point where it can only be a volume play, or can you see scenarios where more paid for content will become the norm?
So I think, you can already see in the world of media that more companies have moved towards a subscription model with their customers, and I think if the platforms could help support subscription models, which they typically haven't, that helps for that model. But subscription models will not work for all content, as I think we put the sun behind a paywall and we brought it out again. And so I think there's different models, revenue models, that we have to look at and see how we support the different models.